My sister told my fiancé that I cheated on him. A lie. She forged messages, photos, everything fake. He canceled our wedding 3 weeks before the date, humiliated me in front of the whole family, and my own parents believed her without even asking my side of the story. But what she didn't know was that I discovered her diary, describing exactly how she was going to destroy me. But before I tell this story, subscribe to our channel. For you, it's just a click. But for us, it's the fuel we need to keep bringing you incredible stories like this one. Have you subscribed yet? Thank you for being part of our community. Now, let me tell you what happened. I found Adrian in our kitchen with his back to me, shoulders rigid like he was bracing for impact. It was Tuesday, 3 weeks before our wedding, and the late afternoon light through our back bay windows made everything look deceptively normal. He didn't turn when I walked in, just stood there staring at his phone like it contained proof of the apocalypse. Adrian, my voice came out smaller than intended. He finally turned, and the look on his face, God, I'll never forget it. Not anger. Something worse. Disgust mixed with pity, like he was looking at a stranger wearing my face. Your sister came to my office today. The words hung heavy between us. My stomach dropped before I knew why. Isla. My baby sister, the one I'd protected our entire lives, hired at my architecture firm when she couldn't hold down other jobs, whose therapy I'd paid for 6 years. She showed me photos, Vivian, messages, proof. He said the last word like something dirty. She was crying so hard she could barely breathe, said she'd been agonizing over it for months. I stared at him, brain struggling to process words that made no sense. I don't understand. Don't. His voice cracked. Don't insult me by pretending you don't know. He turned his phone toward me. The screen showed a photo. Me, or someone who looked exactly like me, in a hotel room with a man whose face I couldn't see. His back was to the camera, but the woman looked like me. Same auburn hair, same dress I owned. The floor tilted. That's not me. The words came out defensive, exactly what a guilty person would say. That's the Liberty Hotel. September 15th. You told me you were at a site inspection. His voice was eerily calm. There are 12 more photos. Text messages about how he makes you feel alive, and I'm too boring. Your sister has been protecting you for months. She came to me because our wedding is in 3 weeks, and she said I deserved to know before I married a lie. My hands shook. September 15th. I tried to remember, but panic erased everything useful. I need to see all of it, because someone is lying, and it's not me. I reached for his phone, but he pulled back, and that small gesture felt like the first real blow. We're supposed to have the rehearsal dinner tonight. Everyone's already at Atlantic Fish Company. Your sister suggested we still go. Said you'd want to keep up appearances. The way he said appearances made my skin crawl. He grabbed his keys and headed for the door. I followed, feeling like I'd slipped into a nightmare version of my life. The drive took 12 minutes of silence while I tried to make sense of photos that couldn't exist. Tried to understand why Isla would tell such a catastrophic lie. Unless it wasn't a lie. Unless I was losing my mind. No, I would remember. But doubt is poison, and I felt it spreading with every silent block we drove. The restaurant was crowded and loud. Our families were in the private room, 22 people who'd flown in from across the country. My mother saw us first, smiling, reaching for champagne. Then she saw Adrian's face. The smile died. Adrian walked to the head of the table. Didn't sit. I need to say something. The wedding is off. The room went silent. Not restaurant quiet. Silent like someone hit pause on the universe. 3 weeks before our wedding, I find out Vivian has been cheating on me for months. Her own sister brought me proof today. Photos, messages, dates and hotels. An entire relationship I knew nothing about while planning our future. My mother gasped. I found my voice. That's not true. Too quiet. I tried again. Louder. Adrian, I have never, ever. The Liberty Hotel, the Charles, the Mandarin Oriental. Should I keep going? 12 documented instances. Vivian, I was working. My voice cracked into something desperate. I don't know what photos you saw, but I have never been unfaithful. Not once. The silence that followed was worse. I could see them calculating, weighing evidence against the woman they thought they knew. I saw the moment my father decided I was guilty. His jaw tightened and he looked away, unwilling to watch me lie. "Vivian, honey." My mother's voice was soft, pitying. "Maybe we should talk privately. Maybe there's been a misunderstanding." "There's no misunderstanding, Margaret." Adrian pulled out his phone, turned it toward my mother. Whatever she saw made her hand fly to her mouth, eyes fill with tears. "Oh, Vivian, what have you done?" That was the moment I broke. Not when Adrian accused me, but when my own mother looked at evidence I hadn't seen and believed I was capable of this. I heard crying and turned to find Isla in the doorway. Had she been there the whole time, tears streaming down her face? "I'm so sorry," she said to Adrian, to everyone. I didn't want to tell him. I tried to talk to Vivian first, but she kept denying it, and I couldn't let him marry her without knowing. She looked at me, eyes red and swollen. "Why did you make me do this? I always protect you." Something cold settled over me. I looked at my baby sister and saw something I'd never seen before, something that scared me more than anything else. I saw satisfaction, just for a second, hidden under tears, a flash that looked almost like victory. Adrian walked out without goodbye. His parents followed. The wedding party scattered. My parents stayed at that table surrounded by untouched champagne. I waited for them to defend me. My father spoke first. "You need to come home. Figure out what you're going to tell people. Not, 'Are you all right?' Just damage control." "I didn't cheat," I said. My mother reached for my hand. "Honey, Isla showed us some evidence last week. She was so worried, so torn. She wanted us to talk to you first. Last week." My voice strangled. "She showed you last week, and none of you thought to ask me." Silence. They'd already tried and convicted me before I knew I was accused. I looked at Isla standing next to Adrian's chair, hand resting on it like comforting a ghost. "Why would you do this?" She met my eyes. For just a second I saw her smile, then more tears. "I love you." I was trying to save Adrian. I walked out into the Boston night. Behind me, my mother said something about getting her help, and Isla's voice, soft. "I'll stay with Adrian tonight. He shouldn't be alone." I knew then, with cold certainty, that someone had planned this. Spent months building a lie so perfect even people who loved me believed it instantly, and I was going to find out who and why, and destroy them the way they'd tried to destroy me. I spent 2 days waiting for Adrian to call. He didn't. I got 43 texts asking if I was okay, in the way people ask when they're really just looking for gossip. 6 calls from my mother telling me to come home and talk about treatment, like I was an addict. And 1 email from Isla. "I'm staying at Adrian's to make sure he's not alone. I hope you understand. Love you." I deleted it, retrieved it, read it 17 times looking for clues between words. I hope you understand. Understand what? That she'd stolen my fiancé's trust. That she was sleeping in his apartment while my life fell apart. On day 3, I stopped waiting for rescue and started investigating. Adrian had blocked everything, so I did something questionable. I used my spare key to his office and let myself in at 2 a.m. His office was empty, city lights casting orange-gray shadows. His laptop was right where he always left it. Password still our anniversary, 01620. That hurt more than expected. He hadn't changed it yet. The photos were in a folder labeled Evidence V. 12 photos. The first showed a woman who looked exactly like me entering the Liberty Hotel. Auburn hair, black dress I recognized, my leather work bag, timestamp, September 15th, 2:47 p.m. I forced my memory to cooperate. September 15th. I'd been at a site inspection in Cambridge. Ran late, missed dinner with Adrian's mother. I could prove it, but the next photo stopped that hope. Same woman, inside a hotel room, sitting on a bed laughing. Beside her, a man's hand on her shoulder. Dark suit, expensive watch. The angle was deliberate, her face clear, his always out of frame or blurred. I clicked through the rest. Each location somewhere I'd actually been for work. The messages were worse. Screenshots where I talked about feeling alive, about Adrian being too focused on work, about not knowing how to end it. The writing was close, but not quite right. I never used babe. Never wrote you instead of you. Small things. Things a sister who'd watched me text for 29 years might miss. I photographed everything, hands shaking. Then I saw Isla's statement, docs. I shouldn't have opened it, but I couldn't stop. A typed statement dated 2 weeks before the dinner, detailed and devastating. She described our noticing changes in my behavior last summer. Vivian seemed distant. Started working late, taking calls in private, listed specific dates, specific lies. Described following me one day and seeing me enter the Liberty. How she'd been all torn apart, deciding what to do. Told our parents first because she needed guidance. It ended. I love my sister more than anything, but I love Adrian too. He deserves the truth, even if it destroys our relationship forever. I'm prepared to lose Vivian over this. I closed the laptop and let myself cry for the first time. The ugly, gasping kind that leaves you empty. Because her statement was perfect. Every detail calibrated for believability. If I'd been Adrian, I would have believed it too. When I stopped, something had shifted. The grief was still there, but underneath was something harder, something cold. I pulled out my phone and Googled Digital Forensic Experts Boston. Dr. Chen's office was nondescript in Somerville. She was maybe 50, Pixie's t-shirt under blazer, and examined my photos with detached surgical interest. Whoever made these is good. Really good, but not perfect. She zoomed in. See the lighting on your jaw? Doesn't match ambient light. And here, she highlighted my hair. Resolution is different. This is AI-assisted composition. Someone took your real face and mapped it onto a different body in a different location. Something in my chest unclenched. Proof. Can you tell who made it? Not who, but when, on what software, and potentially trace source images. She looked at me with sympathy. This'll cost $15,000. Take 2 weeks. I thought about my savings, my honeymoon fund. When can you start? I left with the first real hope I'd felt and a receipt that made me queasy. Driving back, my phone rang. Unknown number. Vivian. Isla's voice, worried. Are you okay? Mom said you won't return calls. I've been so worried. I pulled over because I didn't trust myself to drive during this. Why are you calling? Flat, emotionless. Because I love you. Even though you're angry, you're still my sister. Are you getting help? I know therapists who specialize in infidelity issues, self-destructive patterns. Self-destructive patterns. Like I'd manufactured this through character flaws. I didn't cheat, Isla. I know it's hard to admit. Those photos are fabricated. I hired an expert to prove it. Silence too long. When she spoke, her voice had changed. Harder. Denial isn't healthy. You can't just, I can prove it. And when I do, I'm going to find out who made them and why. Another silence. I have to go. Adrian just got home. But Vivian, this conspiracy thinking scares me. She hung up. I sat in my idling car, replaying that conversation. The silence after I mentioned hiring an expert. The voice change. The sudden need to leave. And I thought, she knows. She knows because she made them. My baby sister had spent months building an elaborate lie to destroy me. The question was why. Dr. Chen called 11 days later while I pretended to work. You need to come in. I found something. I was there in 30 minutes. Printouts spread across her desk like a crime scene. Photos are definitely composites. Your face mapped onto another body using deepfakes lab. Whoever did this had hundreds of photos of you from multiple angles. The body belongs to someone else. Metadata says these base images were taken 2 years ago. 2 years. My mind reeled. The locations are real. You were actually there. But dates are manipulated. They took places you'd been and changed timestamps. The man doesn't exist either. He's a composite of 3 different men. But the text messages... Burner app. Untraceable. But here's what's interesting. She clicked to another screen. Some messages contain information that wasn't public. Details only someone very close to you would know. Remember when he proposed at that restaurant and got down on one knee before appetizers? That wasn't posted online anywhere. I felt cold. My sister was there when he proposed. Someone with intimate access built this. Someone who knew your schedule, had access to your clothes, knew relationship details. She pulled out another document. The Liberty Hotel photos are edited versions from 2 years ago. I found the original in cached backup from deleted social media. You were there with someone. Another woman. In the original, both visible. In the fabricated version, your companion was edited out and replaced with the composite man. I stared at the original Dr. Chen had retrieved. My blood froze. September 2022. A sister's weekend Isla had insisted we needed. We'd stayed at the Liberty, had spa treatments. I'd worn that black dress. Isla had taken this photo, said the lighting was perfect, had me pose by the window, took a dozen shots from different angles. I'd thought she was being artistic. She'd been collecting assets. 2 years ago, my sister started building a weapon to destroy me. I drove back in a daze. 2 years. Since before Adrian proposed. What was the trigger? I pulled up and sat in the parking garage, trying to piece together timeline. Adrian and I started dating June 2021. He proposed July 2022. 1 month before that sister trip where Isla collected photos. Had she known he was going to propose? I scrolled through old emails looking for signs I'd missed. Found it buried from August 2021. V, happy for you. Just feels like everything good goes to you and I get leftovers. Forget I said that. I'd responded dismissively. You're not leftovers. Don't talk like that. Filed it under Isla's anxiety issues and moved on with my perfect life. I needed more. So I drove to my office on Newbury, used my key at midnight, went to Isla's shared workstation, logged in using admin credentials, started digging. Didn't take long. Folder labeled Project Fi, full of hundreds of photographs of me spanning years. At restaurants, family events, work, candid shots I never knew were taken, screenshots of my social media, calendar, client meetings, detailed tracking of my schedule for 3 years, and a diary. Year 1. He asked about Vivian today. Again. Always her. I met him first at that networking event. We talked 2 hours. I thought he was interested. I gave V his card, suggested she accidentally run into him at that cafe. I thought she could tell me what she thought. Instead, she showed up in that blue dress, and he looked at her like she was the sun. Forgot I existed in 6 minutes. Now they're dating and everyone thinks it's romantic coincidence. Only I know I arranged it. I handed him to her gift-wrapped. Year 2. He's going to propose. He asked about her ring size. Asked me, as her sister, what she'd like. I helped him pick the diamond. Played supportive while I died inside. Year 3. Started collecting photos. Maybe I want proof I existed in the story, even if I wasn't the main character. Or maybe insurance. Maybe if I can't have him, she shouldn't either. Year 4. Learned deepfakes lab from Reddit. Spent $3,000 on software. 6 months learning to use it. Created 47 test images before one good enough. Funny part? Vivian bought me the laptop I'm using to destroy her. For my birthday. Said she wanted me to chase creative dreams. Careful what you wish for, sister. I read it 3 times. Feeling like watching someone I loved die in slow motion. This wasn't sudden rage. This was methodical. Patient hatred cultivated over years. And underneath the anger was pain. Real pain. Vivian introduces me as my sister who's recovering, like I'm a permanent patient. Pays my therapy like I'm charity. Got me this job like I'm a rescue project. I'm 29 and no one sees me as anything but Isla who needs help, or Vivian's sister. I don't even have my own name. I sat back, fighting nausea, because that part wasn't entirely wrong. I had done those things, with love, genuine desire to help, but I'd done them, infantilized her, made her small, made her dependent, made her invisible. I hadn't meant to, but intention doesn't erase impact. None of that justified what she did, but it explained it, made it human instead of monstrous, made it worse, somehow. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Stop digging. You're only making this worse. A friend. I took photos of everything, every diary entry, every photo, every piece of evidence. Forwarded it all to Dr. Chen. I was about to log out when I saw one final document. Recent. After. Docs. Once this is done, I need to disappear. Let dust settle. Adrian will need support. I'll be there. Eventually, Vivian will try to reconcile. Say she's gotten help, worked on herself. Everyone will encourage me to forgive because she's your sister. But I won't. For the first time in our lives, I'll be the one with power, the one people trust. Adrian will turn to me, and she'll be the one outside looking in, finally understanding what that feels like. I felt something crack in my chest. She'd planned everything, except one thing. She didn't know Adrian was an investigator, that his professional paranoia wouldn't let him accept even perfect evidence without verification, that he'd spent his career learning to spot lies. As I walked out into the Boston night, I realized something that made me smile for the first time in 2 weeks. My sister had spent 2 years building the perfect trap, but she'd set it for the wrong person, because Adrian hadn't just destroyed me and walked away. He'd gone home and started doubting. And when Adrian doubted, he investigated. I just hoped he was investigating now. Adrian was investigating. I found out when I arrived at my parents' Brookline house 2 weeks later and saw his Audi in the driveway. For a moment, I sat there, staring at his car like a hallucination. Then I saw him on the porch with my father, both looking at a laptop. Adrian's body language rigid, professional. My father's face pale. I got out slowly. Adrian saw me first. Our eyes met across the lawn, and something passed between us I couldn't name. Not forgiveness, not quite trust, but something adjacent. "Vivian," he said, voice cracking on my name. "I'm so sorry." My father looked up. "You need to come inside, right now." The living room was full. My mother, Aunt Claire, grandmother, Adrian's parents, and Isla, sitting on the couch, looking small and terrified. "Good. I hired someone," Adrian said, addressing the room. After the dinner, after I'd calmed down, something didn't sit right. The evidence was too perfect, too convenient. He opened his laptop on the coffee table. "I have a contact at the FBI, former colleague specializing in digital forensics. The photos are fake. AI-generated composites using Vivian's face mapped onto another body. Timestamps manipulated. The man doesn't exist. Text messages from a burner app accessed repeatedly from this address." He pointed at my parents' house, "from an IP matching your Wi-Fi. The same network Isla's phone connects to." Silence. Heavy. Terrible. Metadata traces back to photos taken 2 years ago during a trip Vivian took with Isla. Someone with intimate access to Vivian's life built an elaborate fabrication to destroy her. Adrian looked at Isla. "Did you think I wouldn't check? I'm an investigator. It's what I do." Isla's face did something complicated. Denial tried to form, collapsed. She looked around at faces gone from sympathetic to horrified. She started. Stopped. "You don't understand." "Then explain," I said, speaking for the first time, voice eerily calm. "Explain why you spent 2 years building evidence to destroy my life." She looked at me, tears forming, but underneath was something harder. "Because you have everything. You always have. You're the smart one, successful one, the one everyone admires. Career, apartment, perfect fiancé who looks at you like you're magic. What do I have? Job you gave me out of pity, apartment you co-sign, therapy bills you pay. I'm 29 and I'm still Vivian's little sister who needs help." Her voice rose. "And do you know what it's like to be invisible? To watch someone take the man you met first, build the life you wanted, be treated like charity while your sister gets everything." "I met him first," she said, looking at Adrian. "That networking event. We talked for hours. I thought you were interested. So I gave Vivian your card, set up the coincidental meeting. I thought she'd give me advice. Instead, you forgot I existed." Adrian looked stricken. "Isla, I don't even remember meeting you. That event had 300 people." "Exactly," Isla whispered. "I'm that forgettable, but Vivian walks in and everyone sees her." My mother found her voice. "So you tried to destroy her? Your own sister?" "Isla, what you did was a crime. I wanted someone to see me," Isla shouted, on her feet now. "Just once. I wanted to be chosen. And you know what? It worked. For 3 weeks, everyone believed me over her. For 3 weeks, Adrian turned to me. For 3 weeks, I wasn't invisible." She was crying now. "You all made me invisible." "You're right," I said quietly. And everyone turned. "I made you small. I thought I was helping, paying therapy, giving you a job, but I was suffocating you, making you dependent, making you the sister who needs help, instead of just Isla, a whole person. I took a breath, but that gave you the right to tell me I was hurting you, to set boundaries, to walk away if needed. It didn't give you the right to try to destroy my entire life. Isla wiped her eyes. You would have just apologized and kept doing it. Fixing me is how you feel good about yourself. The truth hit like a slap. Maybe, but that's something we could have worked on. In therapy. In conversation. Like adults. Instead, you spent 2 years planning my destruction. I didn't think he'd actually leave you, Isla said, desperate now. I thought he'd confront you. You'd deny it. There'd be drama. Maybe postpone the wedding. Give me time to figure out how to live with watching you marry him. But then I did leave her, Adrian said, voice rough with guilt. I humiliated her in front of everyone. I believed you without question, because you were her sister, and I couldn't imagine... He looked at me. I couldn't imagine someone's sister would lie like that. My father finally spoke. What happens now? Looking at me, not Isla, waiting for me to decide her fate. I looked at my baby sister. 29, small, angry, trapped in a role we'd all forced her into, and she'd never figured out how to escape. I'm not pressing charges, because sending you to jail doesn't fix anything, but I'm also not pretending this didn't happen. I turned to my parents. You believed her over me, didn't even call to hear my side. You saw evidence and immediately assumed I was capable of months of calculated cheating. My mother started crying. We thought you were protecting your image, and when I needed you most, you abandoned me. Vivian, honey, she reached for me. I stepped back. No, not yet. Maybe not ever. I don't know. I looked at Isla. You're fired, and I don't want to see you. Not at family events, not accidentally, not ever. You tried to erase me from my own life, so I'm erasing you from mine. Isla's face crumpled. Vivian, I'm sorry. I know I went too far. You're not sorry. You're sorry you got caught. There's a difference. I turned to Adrian. Can we talk? Outside? We stood on the porch in late afternoon sun, the same porch where I'd learned to ride a bike, taken prom photos, told them Adrian proposed. It felt like another life. I should have believed you, Adrian said immediately. My first instinct should have been, that's not Vivian. But instead, you acted like an investigator. You saw compelling evidence and drew conclusions. I'm not saying it didn't hurt. It destroyed me, but I understand why you believed it. Does that mean... Hope flickered in his voice. I don't know. I love you. I want to marry you. But you humiliated me in front of everyone. Called me a liar and cheater and let my sister comfort you while I fell apart. My voice broke. I don't know if I can forgive that. Let me try, he said. We'll do therapy. Take time. Rebuild trust however long it takes. 6 weeks of couples therapy. Then we'll decide. He looked at me like I was offering oxygen after drowning. 6 weeks? Anything. I will spend the rest of my life making this up to you. You can't make it up. You can only move forward with me knowing this is part of our story now. The time you didn't believe me. You were always enough, he said. My ex-fiancé cheated 5 years ago. I thought I was over it. But when Isla showed me those photos, all that old betrayal came flooding back, and I reacted instead of thinking. Then that's something you work on in therapy too. Behind us I could hear my family arguing, Isla crying, my mother mediating, my father's voice rising. The family I'd known was fracturing, and I was holding the hammer. What about them? Adrian asked. I don't know if I can forgive my parents for choosing her version over giving me a chance. I don't know if I can sit at Thanksgiving and pretend Isla didn't try to destroy me. I don't know what comes next. But you know what comes next for us. I looked at him. Really looked. At the man I'd loved for 4 years, who'd broken my heart in the worst way, who'd also had his heart broken by an elaborate lie. 6 weeks of therapy. Then we'll see. It wasn't forgiveness. It wasn't reconciliation. It was the smallest possible opening. But right now, it was all I could offer. And somehow, it was enough. And suddenly, the wedding happened 3 months later, on a cloudy October Saturday, on a Cape Cod beach, where the ocean was gray and churning, and wind kept threatening to blow away the simple white chairs we'd set up in the sand. 15 people. Adrian's parents and brother, my college roommate from Seattle, friends who'd reached out after the truth came out, apologetic and ashamed, Dr. Elena Rost, our therapist, who'd worked with us twice a week for 12 weeks and somehow helped us build something new from wreckage. My parents were there. That had been the hardest decision. If you come, I'd told them over coffee 2 months after the confrontation, you're making a choice. You're choosing to believe me, to accept that you failed me when I needed you most. My mother cried. My father said, we know, and we'll spend the rest of our lives making it up to you. You can't make it up. You can only move forward knowing this is part of our story now. They came, but the relationship was different. Polite, careful, like walking on glass that hadn't quite finished breaking. Isla wasn't there. No invitation. No contact. As far as I knew, she'd moved to Portland and was working at a coffee shop taking online classes. My mother mentioned her occasionally, carefully, watching my face. I gave her none. I didn't hate Isla. That surprised me. I'd expected to. But after therapy, where we'd dissected everything, I understood her better than I wanted to. Understood the pain of invisibility, the toxicity of our family dynamic, the slow accumulation of resentment that metastasized into something monstrous. Understanding didn't mean forgiving. It just meant I could see her as human instead of monster. And somehow that made it worse, because monsters are easy to hate. Humans who hurt you because they're hurting are infinitely more complicated. The ceremony was short. No elaborate vows. Just Judge Morrison saying legal words while seagulls screamed and ocean provided its own music. When Adrian said, I do, his voice cracked. When I said it, I meant it completely and also partly. That was the truth we'd both accepted. You can love someone and still carry the scar of how they hurt you. You can choose them again and still remember the first time they didn't choose you. The reception was at a restaurant overlooking water, serving lobster rolls and clam chowder, not trying to be fancy. Adrian's brother gave a toast about second chances and new beginnings. My roommate Tess pulled me aside during dinner. How are you, really? She asked, knowing me long enough to see through my smile. I'm married to someone who saw evidence I'd betrayed him and believed it without question. And I chose to marry him anyway. That's not an answer. I watched Adrian across the room, laughing at something his brother said. I'm choosing to be happy. That's not the same as being happy, but it's something. And right now, something is enough. She hugged me. Didn't say it would get better or offer platitudes. Just held me while ocean crashed against rocks and my new husband celebrated 50 feet away. 6 months later, on a gray Tuesday while working late on the Seaport project, I got a letter. Actual paper. Actual envelope. Actual stamp. My mother had forwarded it. Isla's handwriting. I stared at it for 20 minutes before opening. V, I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I'm in therapy now. Real therapy. Not the kind you paid for where I performed recovery for an audience. The kind where I actually face what I did and why. It's brutal. I spent our entire lives blaming you for everything wrong in my life. For being successful when I wasn't. For being chosen when I felt invisible. But the truth is, I made myself invisible. Made myself small and dependent, and then hated you for treating me the way I presented myself. That doesn't excuse what you did. The infantilizing, the savior complex, the way you introduced me like I was your charity project. But it also doesn't excuse what I did. Nothing excuses what I did. I tried to destroy your life because I couldn't figure out how to build my own. I'm trying now. I'm 29 and starting over completely. No family money, no connections, no one to save me. It's terrifying. It's also the first time I've felt real in years. I don't know if you'll ever want to speak to me again. Mom says you got married. I'm glad. I'm also devastated because I destroyed something I can never get back. Not your wedding. Our relationship. I miss you. I miss my sister. But I know I'm the one who killed that. Maybe someday we could try again. But I'm not asking for that. I'm just saying I'm sorry. Really sorry. Not because I got caught. Because I finally understand what I took from you. From us. I hope you're happy. V. I really do. I read it 3 times. Folded it carefully. Put it in my desk drawer. I didn't respond. Maybe I would someday. Maybe I wouldn't. But I kept it. That felt significant. That night, Adrian and I sat in our new Cambridge apartment. We'd left Back Bay, needed a fresh start, and I showed him the letter. He read it in silence. "What do you think?" I asked. "I think she's trying. I also think trying doesn't erase what she did. Dr. Rost said forgiveness isn't about them deserving it. It's about you deserving peace. Do you have peace?" he asked. I thought about it, really thought. Sometimes, when I'm working and I forget to remember, when I'm with you and you look at me the way you used to, when my parents call and ask about my day instead of tiptoeing around the past, and the other times I remember that my sister tried to destroy me, that people who were supposed to believe me didn't, that I had to prove my innocence like I was on trial for existing. My voice stayed steady. The other times I carry it. Like weight I can't put down. He pulled me close. "I'm so sorry I added to that weight." "I know." And I did. A year after the beach wedding, Adrian and I hosted Thanksgiving at our apartment. Small gathering. His parents, brother, my college friends. My parents came. We ate turkey and stuffing and pretended the empty chair where Isla should have been wasn't screaming her absence. My mother mentioned her once. She's doing well in Portland, taking classes, has a small apartment, asks about you sometimes. I didn't respond. Just passed cranberry sauce and changed the subject. After everyone left, after dishes and leftovers, Adrian found me at our window looking out at Cambridge, at lights blinking in apartments where other people were living, other lives that maybe hadn't fallen apart and been reconstructed from scraps. "You okay?" he asked, arms around me from behind. "They say time heals all wounds. I don't think that's true. Time just teaches you how to carry them. I carry the memory of my sister's betrayal, the scar of my parents, silence, the weight of your doubt." I turned to face him. "But I also carry something else. The knowledge that I survived, that I rebuilt, that I chose myself when no one else did. And some days, that's enough." "And today," he asked, "is today one of those days?" I looked at my husband, the man who'd broken my heart and then spent a year helping me heal it, who'd doubted me and then spent every day since proving I could trust him again. Today is one of those days. And I meant it. Not completely, not without reservation, but enough. We stood there in our reconstructed life, and I thought about Isla in Portland learning to be whole on her own, about my parents trying to earn back trust, about Adrian and I building something imperfect and scarred but real. I thought about the wedding we didn't have and the marriage we did, about the sister I lost and the self I found. I didn't forgive Isla. Maybe I never would, but I didn't hate her anymore either. She was just another human who'd been drowning and grabbed onto the person closest to save herself. The fact that she'd nearly pulled me under didn't make her a monster. Just human. Broken and desperate and human. Outside our window, Cambridge blinked and breathed and went on living. Inside our apartment, so did we. And for now, for today, that was enough. Well, if you've made it to the end of this story, thank you for staying with me. Now I want to know, what did you think? Would you forgive your sister? Would you forgive your parents? Tell me in the comments below. We love reading each one. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, subscribe now, because there's a new story for you every week. Oh, and the next video is already appearing on your screen. Click there and I'll see you there. Until next time.